We covered a lot so far in the previous 2 study visits. In the beginning, we've talked about the Valakupi Rehabilitation Center. We had a tour in the first day. We've seen their premises and their services and their building, and also some of their staff and users. We've talked about their services and projects and finances and all the main aspects of the center and its function, philosophy, vision, and also results. And then we've talked about the deинституционализација process in Lithuania, and we compare and exchange experiences with the deинституционализација process in Macedonia. In the third day, we focus very strongly into 2 very innovative approaches from the Valakupi Center, the way that they support employment, both in sheltered employment and open market integration. We will continue today based on the way that they do it, how they use the tools, what is their approach. So today we will look more inside the methodological aspects in order to learn about the approach per se. The second innovative service that we covered was the support in decision making, a service that has been proven through research throughout Europe and internationally that it is very fundamental for the independence and also for the self-determination of persons with disabilities. Please, yes, thank you. So what we learned from this process, it was how important it is to understand that people with disabilities have the ability, and we support this ability, to make decisions and choices. So it was very important to learn about the methodology and also to hear users per se to talk to us about their capacity of making decisions and how this has changed gradually their lives. In this final day, as I said, we will focus on the methodological aspects of supported employment, the vocational rehabilitation program of the Valakupi Center. It's really very important, and we are very grateful to our colleagues from Lithuania that are sharing so openly everything with us. We will discuss also about youth, working with youth, and we have a little bit of a focus in the LEAD project that the Valakupi Center at the moment is implementing. It is a European project, and eventually, in the end, we will finish with a short session of lessons learned, what we learn, what can we really adapt from this learning exchange and this learning experience, and how we can move forward with the rest of the capacity building activities that the project is implementing to make the best use and the best, to utilize in the best way everything that our skill base is absorbing from the capacity building activities of the project, what we've learned and what we can put in practice in our work. So I'm really very happy to say that after 3 days, full days, we still maintain the level of participation. In the end of the process, I will explain the process of certification. We will send you a signed certificate for your participation in the study visit, but I will explain all that in the end. It is with a pleasure and it is with gratitude that I am giving the floor to our colleagues from the Valakupi Center, to Juste. And Juste, please, take the floor.
Доброе утро, Mila.
Доброе утро.
Good morning, dear. I would like to introduce Walakupiaи Rehabilitation Center. You know a lot already about it.
Absolutely.
So today I will talk about vocational rehabilitation program. And I would like to share my presentation. Okay. Let me just full screen, make a full screen. So, Walakupiaи Rehabilitation Center is situated in a very beautiful place. It's in the side of the city, in the forest, close to the river, and our mission is to provide, constantly improve and develop medical, vocational rehabilitation and social services for persons with disabilities within organization and nationwide, seeking their full and equal participation in public life, integration into society and better quality of life. So the main aim is those people with disabilities to come back to life and to have good quality of it. Our people, so our leader is Tatiana, as you already know, and the head of vocational rehabilitation sector is Natalia. I think you also already met her. And our professionals are medical rehabilitation staff, social care, employment counseling, project management and research. So we are about 118 employees, from which 10% of them are people with disabilities. So we are socially responsible company. So vocational rehabilitation users' needs. In order to get back to labor market after becoming disabled, people need to go through vocational rehabilitation stages. Some people cannot get back to their works because of their disabilities. Some people, because of their disabilities, haven't been working at all in their lives. So there are different vocational rehabilitation methodologies for different types of disabilities in our center. So they are for people with disabilities like physical disabilities, mental, psychiatric, intellectual, sight or hearing. What documentation is needed for entering vocational rehabilitation program? We need, that person needs to bring referral from labor office, conclusion on the need for vocational rehabilitation services from disability assessment office, conclusion on the nature and conditions of the work that person could do. We will need this document also when we are looking for a job, because we have to know what person can do and what cannot. Also, we need person ID, disability certificate, education documents. Also, those documents are needed in order to prepare a CV and to know what education person has and what can we improve. Also, person needs medical documents, certificate of residence and social security certificate if person has previous job experience. So what are the vocational rehabilitation stages? There are a few stages, as you see. The first stage duration is 5 work days, and it is assessment of vocational skills. The second stage is vocational guidance and counseling, which durates 5 work days. The third is restoration and development of vocational skills. The duration is up to 30 work days. Developing new skills, that duration depends on vocational training program. You'll see, I'll tell you more about the vocational training programs and durations. Employment assistance, 5 work days. Workplace support up to 6 months. And now we have innovation that we do not provide those employment assistance for 5 work days and workplace support up to 6 months. So what we have, employment assistance, is only up to 8 hours and not actual person when finishes vocational training program Now person is sent back to labor office and they help him to find job. And if person needs difficulties in finding job, then labor office chooses employer and then sends person to us. And we help to do all the employment procedures. So we only have 8 hours for that. And after a person is employed, we have workplace support up to 12 months. So it's better because 12 months is a longer period of time. So all the classes are held only in weekdays from 9 to 4 p.m. From 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now let's talk about the stages of vocational rehabilitation. The first stage, assessment of vocational skills. So there's a team of specialists who works with the disabled people. So it's doctor rehabilitator, physiotherapist, occupational therapist, psychologist, social worker, vocational teachers, recruitment manager, and is as needed speech therapist, sign language interpreter, typologist. Team of specialists assesses physical capacity of a person with a disability, his emotional state, social situation, capabilities, opportunities to acquire a new profession and work in relevant job. There are few tools used for assessment of vocational skills. The first one and mostly used is MELBA, which is standardized documentation methodology for the assessment of psychosocial vocational skills. So it is assessment and documentation of workplace requirements, taking into account the psychosocial vocational characteristics of the person, also assessment and documentation of a person's psychosocial vocational abilities, then comparison of workplace requirements and adequate personal abilities. Preparation of recommendations for necessary actions regarding vocational skills, restoring or training, and for workplace adaptation. So MELBA is one of the main tools that help professionals to target and orient disabled person to choose the right profession. The second tool is IDA, and it is a standardized set of tools for assessing and documentation of psychosocial performance of the person. It is psychosocial vocational abilities, characteristics. Psychosocial characteristics required for each work activity are assessed. So those are cognitive characteristics like work planning, perception, attentiveness, concentration, memory, problem solving, adaptation, abstract thinking. Social qualities like implementation, ability to lead, communicability, critical appraisal, tolerance for criticism, teamwork, qualities related to the nature of the work, endurance, self-control, tolerance of failures, order lines, punctuality, independence, diligence, responsibility. Also psychomotor properties like stimulus, fine motor skills, reaction speed, and means of cultural expression or communication like reading, counting, writing, and speaking. So person's abilities are compared with the requirements of workplace, and recommendations are made for the person to restoring or developing new skills or adapting workplace for a person or regarding the choice of a new profession. The third tool is HAMIT2. So it is methodology of assessment and development and vocational guidance of basic characteristics of vocational competence. It is vocational skills like thoroughness, accuracy, ability to complete tasks on time, perception and execution of tasks, precision, the ability to use work tools correctly, and tool management. Also, the participant's progress is assessed, his motivation to study and work. Also, this tool is used to assess and develop the social characteristics of the disabled. And also this tool is used to evaluate and develop abstract thinking, such as attentiveness throughout the work, error recognition, ability to make the right decision. So assessment of vocational skills. A team of specialists prepares conclusions and makes recommendation for vocational rehabilitation program. And individual classes plan is drawn up. The second stage of vocational rehabilitation is vocational guidance and counseling. So the analysis of personal traits and person's motivation to study and work is made. Consulting on professional orientation, suitability, professional career planning is conducted. The provision of information on vocational training and employment opportunities are made, so specialist advice on career choices. A person does practical tasks in training classes, workshops, and see what kind of work the person could and would like to do. The practical tests of professional skills are made. The assistance in choosing or changing a profession and individual vocational rehabilitation program is established after the vocational guidance and counseling stage. So our expertise in vocational guidance and counseling. We share information on planning and vocational career, analysis of personal characteristics, making career plan, consulting on opportunities for learning and working, and trying to promote person's motivation. The third stage is restoration and development of vocational skills. So the following recommendations of specialist persons will be provided with the services of physiotherapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, social workers, psychologists, vocational teachers, and employment managers. So our expertise in this stage is we provide rehabilitation, social means, psychological means, work simulation, and vocational training. So a person needs to choose vocational training program in order to get new vocational qualification. And vocational training services provided in the Valakupiaи Rehabilitation Center or in our partners' organizations. So what are the training programs for vocational rehabilitation? It is accountant, which duration is 125 work days, and the program which is used for teaching is Revila. Accounting and computerized accounting systems, 100 work days, and the program is used also Revila. Business organizer, which duration is 90 work days. IT and marketing areas such as security assistant that can use IT, so the duration is 40 work days. Basics of computer literacy for the blind and partially sighted, 120 work days. Also advertising layout designer, the duration 94 work days. Online programming, website admin, you can see the durations here. Network administrator, computer hardware technician. Service areas, social worker assistant for 70 work days, massage specialists, 120 work days, and cleaners program, training program. Also arts and production areas, manufacturer of artistic leather goods, jewelry manufacturer or jeweler, yeah. Manufacturer of fine wood products, carpenter. So all those works that you see were done in Valakupiaи Rehabilitation Center. Also tailor or seamstress training program. After a person finishes vocational training stage, he went to employment assistance. It is like it was before. Now the system changed, but before it was 5, as I told you, it was 5 work days employment assistance. So what services we provided during this period, it was collection of information and analysis of the situation in the labor market, search for potential jobs and potential employer, help to formate job search skills. It is how to write your CV, how to where to look for the where to look for the employer or new workplace, how to talk to employer, and so on. Also submission of job offers to the client, advising employers on workplace adaptation, employment questions, and etc. And once employed, clients were provided with workplace support up to 6 months. So it was previously. And upon completion of the program, it is after finishing the program, a person gets a certificate of qualification. But innovation now, since this year, is that vocational rehabilitation finishes when vocational training program is done. So a person, after finishing vocational training, a person is sent back to labor office, and they provide employment assistance. And only some persons that had been finished vocational rehabilitation program and meets with difficulties in finding job might be sent for employment assistance and workplace support back to Walakupiaи Rehabilitation Center by labor office. Because it's like another project, employment assistance and support, workplace support. So we provide those services not only for people who had finished the vocational rehabilitation program, but also other disabled people might be sent by the labor office to us. So it's not already a part of vocational rehabilitation since this year. I'm not sure if it is good or bad, but as I worked previously with employment assistance, I could say that maybe it was better because you could work with a person during all the vocational rehabilitation, since assessment of the skills and going all through those stages, so you get know better person and you can talk time to time to him and see what he could do or could not do. And those 5 days were quite okay, because in those 5 days you just find a suitable place to work and you can employ a person. Okay, and now, as I told you, assistance in employment procedures. For successful employment, the services will be provided by a recruitment manager who will assist to accomplish employment procedures, to sign agreement, to talk with the employer about the internal rules and workplace work functions, to assess workplace and working conditions like work functions, working hours, working norms and productivity, etc., and advise employer on workplace adaptation issues. And we only have now 8 hours for that, so it's not much. And workplace support now is provided only for, not only, but for 12 months, so it's better, because it helps person to stay in a labor market for longer, because those people who had no previous work experience, they need support. Sometimes they do not need to talk about the job, but they need to talk about how they feel there, what difficulties they meet. But sometimes they need support, like to talk to employer, employee, for those relations, for good relations, to keep good relations. So once employed, the specialist will continue to provide the person with the services up to another 12 months. It is a continuous assistance to a person in order to keep the job as long as possible and not to lose it. So it is advising the employer and the disabled person on the issues of employment relations, working conditions, adaptation of the workplace, ensuring the rights of the disabled person and prevention of discrimination in the workplace. To help solve problems of communication between disabled person and employer related to employment relationships or conditions, divisions of work tasks and other problems that hinder a person's work activities. So about the quality. Walakupiaи Rehabilitation Center has implemented quality management system, which is under constant development and is in compliance with LST, EN, ISO 9001 2015 standard requirements. So all the documents are being how to say, so harmonized, yes, harmonized by this ISO standard. And Walakupiaи Rehabilitation Center also works according to EQUAS quality requirements, European Quality in Social Services mark EQUAS. So there's other principles that resemble that EQUAS standard. So leadership, staff professionals, rights of disabled people, ethics while working with them, partnership, participation, person-centered services, comprehensiveness, continuous improvement, result orientation. Volakupiaи Rehabilitation Center also elaborated and pilot tested methodologies of vocational rehabilitation services for people with vision and hearing disabilities, psychiatric illnesses, intellectual disorders, and physical movement disabilities. Elaboration of the standards of vocational rehabilitation services provision and vocational rehabilitation services quality assessment system. Also development of methodological material, development of the competences of vocational rehabilitation specialists, carrying out researches, sharing good practice, and etc. Also elaborated requirements for the vocational rehabilitation specialists, strategy for vocational rehabilitation in Lithuania in 2015 and 2020. So what also we have innovations, we purposely improve the health of the working group together with a physiotherapist and occupational therapist in the fresh air. So it's like a faculty, it's not the main activity what they do. We teach foreign languages and handicrafts during the faculties. We provide an opportunity to participate in various projects, fairs, celebrations at the center at the time, as well as the opportunity to attend exhibitions, theater, and other events. But it was before quarantine. Now, many things had been stopped, unfortunately. So when a person decides to participate in vocational rehabilitation, we invite him to come and look around. Talk to specialists about the choice of the training program and the provision of services. So here you can see the map where we are located. Videlitas Street 69. So we are just close to the river and in a forest. So very beautiful place. You are welcome to come and see how it looks someday when the quarantine will be over. And we also have our department in second biggest Lithuanian town, Kaunas. And you can see the buildings and it is, so we also invite people with disabilities to come and see, look around how it looks so they could, because some people are not very self-confident and they are afraid to start new program. So we just invite to make good relations, to help them feel better and not to be afraid to come. So thank you for your attention. Благодарям за вниманието. Yeah? Yes. Pronounced correctly. So that was my presentation, and maybe I'll show you a few forms that we use, okay, in vocational rehabilitation. Okay, I'll stop sharing this presentation and put how to put back. Oops. Okay. Cannot. I don't know how to choose. How to show. Okay, share screen. Can you see it? Yes. Okay, so it's vocational, individual vocational rehabilitation program. So in the beginning, we just write the information about a person, his name, second name, personal number, home address, territorial employment office, telephone number, date of issue of referral, date of issue, and this all information about a person. And here, here you can see are the individual vocational rehabilitation parts. First one is assessment, then the second part, third part, vocational rehabilitation training and employment assessment and workplace support. Here you can write down what the services are provided and the duration. what the duration is, how many days it is, because some people need more time, others need less time. Other significant remarks that you have, we'll send these forms to you, okay? And the responsible employee signs.
We have them.
You have them, okay.
You sent it, yes.
Okay, I just want to show, okay, and the other form is, yeah, and it is a service provision program, so you can write here individual information, name, duration, departure date, and so on. And here you can write down services, and each day of the month you can write how many services were provided. And here's the amount due and in total. So you can know how many services and what services was provided for the person. Here we write state upon arrival, what problems he had, what are the aims and objectives of the vocational rehabilitation, and here's results and other remarks. And I also would like to show you the third form, which is the progress. Screen share, the progress report. So here we can write down what is the progress. What was the progress of each stage? As for assessment, what are the conclusions, what number of days was provided, vocational guidance and counseling, employment assistance, so you can write down everything. So maybe that's it, what I wanted to tell, and maybe you have any questions. I think you might have a lot, but just ask if you want something or what I didn't describe.
I think we have a lot of questions. Actually, I have thousands of questions.
Thousands. I will try to...
And maybe we can stay here for a month and discuss it. But
okay.
I want us a little bit to understand the process, because first of all, we have a lot of people from our country, Macedonia, from the labor office, from the employment agency, and also a lot from rehabilitation and daycare centers. And
Yes.
it would be interesting to understand the system in order to be able to make comparisons. So let me make some small summary, and please correct me where I'm wrong, and also give us some more details. So the whole entry process of vocational rehabilitation starts from the labor office. So the labor office is referring to you, one user, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you, in that moment, you have like a contract with the labor office that you will be paid by them for the service that you're offering. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. Right.
Absolutely. These forms that you are completing, you are sending back to the labor office in order to say how many hours you worked and days and overall period you work with this person personally. It's a personalized approach, and be paid for your services. Am I right?
Yes, we have we fill form on the progress of the vocational rehabilitation, and we send forms each month. What had attained that person, what services was provided, how many services, what professionals worked, exactly. There are some exactly. Other forms.
These forms are standardized throughout Lithuania. Everybody who is doing your job is using this form for progress to send back to the labor office, or is it individualized per center? That's your form, like Valakupiai form.
Those forms that I presented you are our center's forms.
Right.
And
you are not having a standardized template that you need to complete and send back to the labor office.
They have some standardized forms, but I didn't send you. So I'll write down that you would like to see them standardized.
I'd like to see the standardized because it's because obviously, when you've talked about methodological documents, you've talked about the standards, the standardization, and the strategy for rehabilitation, the National Strategy 1520, which obviously says what are the rights and responsibilities for the organizations, for the state, what are the rights of the users, etc., etc. So obviously there are national standards.
I mean, the forms that I showed you, those are like our center's forms.
Yes,
but, yeah,
that's your forms.
Yeah, yeah. But we have some special forms that Labor Office sends us that we have to fill.
Exactly. And it's related to the national standards on vocational rehabilitation that we have in Lithuania. That everybody, whoever is doing vocational rehabilitation, be it in Vilnius, Kaunas, or wherever else, at the basic level, they have all to follow the same.
Yes, the same order.
Exactly.
Yeah, the same order everywhere. Yes, you just vocational rehabilitation center signs agreement with the Labor Office, and they provide services and fill the forms that Labor Office need to get.
Great. So the first level of employability assessment and capacity for vocational rehabilitation is happening after you get the contract from the Labor Office. You are doing it, or the Labor Office is providing you with a referral in a document that says that after initial assessment, this person can enter in the labor market with this level of employability.
Actually, how it was previously, that Labor Office call us and say we have a person, and tell his situation, what job experience he has, what disability he has, and we just look what we can offer him, what vocational rehabilitation training programs we can let him come, and then he comes. We decide if he really can do that program, go through that program. Yes, we just.
So you do the employability assessment, not the Labor Office.
Yes, we do. We do everything. We just get a person. Ivana wants to ask something.
Yes.
Excuse me to interrupt you, Maria, but I think it's related to your question.
Please.
In your presentation, you've mentioned that the set of the documentation that the person with disability brings to your center, and one of them was conclusion for what the person can do or not.
Yes.
So maybe Maria is thinking for that. Who is giving that conclusion, that document?
That conclusion gives Department of Disability to a person.
This department?
Yes. Then a person get disabled. He goes to disability Department of Disability, and they get a form about his disability. It's in English. About like paper about disability, and
about disability level, maybe.
Yeah, disability level.
What kind of disability?
Yes, disability level form, and also he gets that about the paper about the conditions and what work he could do. If he could work high or low, or if he could carry.
Fine and gross motor, this kind of
time. Yes.
So this conclusion is based on the ICF evaluation.
Not, I think, not on ICO, but
similar classification.
It's like country. It's country like official.
Of course. This Department of Disability is in the Social Work Center. Where is it situated?
It's situated in city center. And person just has
in the municipality.
No, it's a part of ministries, I think.
So it's centralized in order to get the qualification of the actual certification of disability. Actually, it's based on that. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
We have a lot of questions about your methodologies, and then we have some questions from our IPA coordinator, Alexandra, on the actual job retention. I will start with the methodologies. You mentioned MELBA,
yes,
methodology for psychosocial skills, etc., etc. IDA, which is more related to qualities, personal social skills for job response and attitude and personality also towards towards employment and labor market, and HAMET, which is an evaluation sort of
tool,
formative evaluation tool like progress.
Yes.
Are these international methodologies? You also talked about one professional that I have to ask you, typologists. Who is a typologist? I don't know this. You need to tell us a little bit on that. But please tell us, what are these methodologies and where did you get the tools? And if they are accessible, and some of our rehabilitation centers can get these methodological tools, and how we can access these tools, if it's possible.
Actually, I know more about MELBA and IDA tool because I have been learning a bit it. So those came from Germany, and they are translated and adapted to Lithuanian standards.
Right.
About HAMET, I cannot tell you because I don't know, but we could ask Rasa, she will tell us more, okay?
Perfect, thank you very much.
Yeah, and the specialists who uses these methods are mostly psychologists and other specialists.
Right.
Mostly, so they could tell more about it. But you can ask Rasa; she will give you more information about it. Actually, I am not working with them; just tell you about them. Okay.
Yes, we have a very interesting question, as I said, from Alexandra. It says, first of all, she wants to thank you for a very nice presentation, and she has two questions. With regard to the workplace, when somebody gets the position, what is the coaching and the support? How frequent it is during the 12 months period that you are supporting for job retention? What is the dropout rate that you have in Lithuania of people with disabilities who get a job? How many of them retain the job and how many of them lose the job between the first 12 months? And what is, in your view, the most critical stage? Is how you know the skills to do the job, or the social skills? I mean, you lose the job because you don't know to do it very well in terms of the practical element, or people are losing the jobs because of social skills and attitudes?
I think it depends on the disability firstly, because if we talk about psychiatric clients, so they lack of self-confidence mostly, and they have a lot of frights. They are afraid of many things, social things. So it's hard to find jobs for them, because they tell, oh, I like it, but when you come to employer, they just are afraid of it. So and the other reason why they do not stay along in the workplace is that their mental health gets worse, because they have a lot of stress, and sometimes they go to hospital and so on. So there's a problem. For other people, some people lack of motivation. The system in Lithuania is that they get money from government because of their disability, and they are afraid that they will lose those money if they start to work, that the percentage of their disability will be shortened. Yeah. So there's the reason that why they are afraid to go to work. What helps them to enter that workplace? We work with them to improve their self-confidence, to get new skills while vocational training program, and we help them to stay in the workplace by talking to them, by keeping good relations with employer, and yes, communication, and so that persons often asks, please do not enter me to open labor market. I would like to work in social enterprise because it's more safe for me, and I feel better in that because there works people with disabilities, so I won't be ignored or feel some tension.
How many they, in your, just a general number, in your feeling all these years, what would you say is the percentage that they keep the job after 1 year?
After 1 year, I cannot tell about the percentage because I didn't work with vocational rehabilitation, like I work in another project, so I cannot tell about the numbers, but about 30% or maybe 50% might be employed, but those who stay for longer, it depends, but maybe half of them could stay. It depends on the illness, on the disability, and
yeah.
And
that's
so
the actual European level. It is about 54% job retention. So 1 in 2 jobs are lost, more or less, at European level,
yes,
because of the implications. We have Eva. Please either raise your hand or write us in the chat, and Eva will read the comments from Dimitar and from Katice.
Yes, we have questions from the employment agency. When is the family included in this type of activity and in what level? And another question is about the people with limited work capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Are they also employed on a short-term working hour, 4 or 5 hours? Do you have any cases like this?
Part-time.
Part-time,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Part-time job. Yes, there are abilities to work part-time job because even in that form about the working conditions in that form might be felt that person cannot do night shifts or cannot work more than 8 hours or more than 4 hours. So some employers can provide us with part-time job, but we need to talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And about the involvement of the family, is the family
involvement of the family? Actually, family is involved in the process when in communication, more not about the employment, but about his state, about his mental state, about his psychological state. We talk more about those things. But if a person agrees, because it depends on a person. If person do not agree, I have one client who says, I don't want my family to know that I'm in your project, so it's his choice.
Good. So it's not compulsory.
Yes, it's not compulsory.
It's the person's choice.
Yeah, because sometimes our client disappears and we don't know what happened. So we keep contacts with family to know what's the situation and what happened and so on, maybe some problems, so that is why we need relations with family more.
I want to make also a clarification. First of all, what I saw in the beginning is that you have counted exactly how many days you will work on each level of intervention.
Yes.
5 days for that, 10 days for that, 20 days, and then you have also a long list of programs for training. Obviously, quite a lot of them are based on IT.
Yes.
And IT training for people with disabilities is one of the most common trainings throughout Europe. But they mainly refer to the persons with physical disabilities that they were acquainted after an accident, as you said.
Yes.
I mean, you get an accident and then you become disabled, maybe physical disabilities, you need to re-skill yourself in order to go into the labor market. If more days are needed, let's say that the 120 days is not enough
For training?
for the accountants.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening? I mean, let's say that somebody has a good progress, but needs more time to learn properly to become an accountant. Can he get a second or not?
No, he cannot, because the vocational training provider gets money only for those hours. So if the person needs more time, it might be like a practice in workplace. We can bring person to employer and agree to write this practice agreement. So he could start with practice for 2 months, and then he might be employed.
Juste, we all know that somebody goes for the first time into training on something, and maybe 150 or 120 days is not enough. Mm-hmm. Who is making the decision of continuation? Is it the labor office? You go back and you make you advocate that this person needs more time, and you get it or not?
No, you won't get it, because the program is just only that much of days, amount of days. That's it. Yeah. If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. That is why is the evaluation stage to evaluate if he could do that. So they can try in the training classes, and the teacher will tell him if he could do that job or not. So it would happen in the beginning or somewhere in the first month or so, whatever. Yes, not to continue or not. Otherwise, it is a waste of time and money. Yes, so maybe he could choose another program which is simpler, or that would be enough for him. So what you are telling us, and this I think is very crucial, is that there are a lot of opportunities to learn and skill people with disabilities, to provide them professional skills, but not a lot of chances. You either get it, and then if you don't really get it, you don't give it a second chance. Am I right? You mean if good for trainings? For trainings. Actually, vocational rehabilitation program could be provided once in 5 years. So if a person finishes that program, he cannot enter for 5 years anymore. So it's the labor office that rule. Right.
We have a question from Madam Maria. She wants to take the floor, please. Please.
Okay.
Добар ден на сите, јас сум Марија Димитриевска, работена во Центарот за вработување Куманов. Вака, сакам едно прашање. Значи, лицево има некој документ издаден од соодветно министерство за неговиот степен на попреченост, вид на попреченост, колку е преостаната работната способ. Меѓутоа, поаѓајќи од праксата кај нас, доколку се влезе во фаза на вработување, доколку лицето треба да се вработи на некое работно место, кај нас мора да се даде упат преку заедниците за вработување на лица со посебни потреби, за да комисијата која што е при Министерство за труд и социјална политика, составена од стручни тимови, значи од лекари, психолози и социјални работници, процени дали лицето согласно неговиот степен на попреченост, кој што го има, може да работи кај тој работодавач на одредено работно место, при што значи мора да бидат опишани детално работните задачи кои што ќе ги има лицето и обврските кои што треба да ги изврши. Значи комисијата, стручната комисија при Министерство проценува дали лицето во тие услови какви што ги има работодавачот, значи се гледат и работните услови, може согласно неговиот степен на попреченост да ги извршува тие работни задачи и му дава наоти мислење дека тоа и тоа лице со таква и таква попреченост може да работи на тоа и тоа работно место кај одреден работодавач. Дали тоа е и праксата во Литванија, затоа што така е кај нас. Ме интересира како е тоа регулирано кај нив. Знам дека они имаат одредени, значи, медицински лица кои што проценуваат, нели, дали лицето може да извршува одредени работни задачи, меѓутоа како конкретно е тоа регулирано? Ви благодарам.
Thank you for the question. Actually, in Lithuania, vocational rehabilitation might be only those 3 stages: evaluation, restoration, and assessment. Yeah, assessment. And you cannot, person might come and not get vocational training, only for evaluation, restoration of his skills. So we can make recommendations if that person could work or not could work. But actually, if a person comes for vocational rehabilitation, he comes for new training program or for evaluation and recreation of the skills. Yeah. Oh, I cannot hear you, Maria.
So, Maria, what Juste is saying to us?
Да, во ред тоа не сакам да прашањето ми е дали кога лицето ќе се вработува као одреден работодавач мора да има посебно наут и мислење од некоја институција дека или вашите препораки, вашето мислење, вашите заклучоци се доволни за да лицето се вработи и да се регистрира неговото вработување преку агенцијата за вработување. Ви благодарам.
Actually, no documentation are required by the employer. No documentation is required. The only thing what employer might require a disability form, that a person has a disability and what percentages of work capacity he has. If he has 30% of workability or 45 or 55, so the less percents he has, the more acceptable for employer he is, because they get more money from government and more subsidies. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So really what it's saying to us, Maria, is that the only thing that the employer needs is the level of disability, which is back the conclusion paper that we've talked,
yes,
which signifies the level of disability in order to define the subsidy of the salary or the social security contributions that the employer is contracted by the employment office. Yes. Because these contracts are with the employment office.
Yes. Right.
Some more comments, I think.
More questions from the rehabilitation center here in Macedonia.
We will take another 2, and then we go to our next. We will have a break, I think, and then we will come back and take more. So yes, please, Eva.
Is the Center for Rehabilitation a provider of the trainings, or do you do certain trainings with some outside providers, with your partners or organization that you cooperate?
Mm-hmm.
And is there a certain percentage of people with disability to be employed in the Lithuanian companies, but that is determined by law or any kind of other legislative form? Do they have any benefits in that sense, or are they have to be employed there?
I didn't understand the second one.
Are the companies in Lithuania mandatory to employ people with disabilities? Or is there any percentage of their employment?
Quota system. You mean
yes,
the quota
system? Yes, exactly, the quota system.
The quota system. The social enterprises need to have some percentages of people with disabilities. I'm not sure what's how many of it, but social enterprises, not open labor market. And the first question, what was? I just
about the trainings. Are you
yes.
at the center doing the trainings, or are you?
Yes.
Some of them are you doing with some other organizations, or?
Yes. Previously, we had some trainings in our center, like jeweler, accountant, leather maker, sewer. It was IT, some IT professions. But because only few persons were sent, and it was too expensive to keep a teacher for 2 person or 1 person, so we just decided to close our programs, and we only worked with partners. And for now, for today, we only have 1 company that we have signed for vocational training. It's just for cleaners profession. And so they do, our partner does that vocational training program, because it's too expensive to keep that, to keep those teachers for us.
Thank you.
Okay, I would say let's have a short break of, let's come back 20 past 11.